terms of, let's kind of go back to the top. So what do you think would be, for lack of a better term, sort of the low-hanging fruit for a news organization? I mean, what are some places they could go and look and really start to get a feel for fruitful avenues
Sure.
to look in?
It's a great question. So I'm a reporter, I'm new, and I've just been put on the education
Or
topic.
or even if
what would I do?
You've read these stories and you think, we ought to do this here.
If you're on the education job within a paper, you probably have past things that have been brought to your attention. So you don't have that. You're starting fresh.
Yeah.
Put somebody on the task of collecting year to year and other data by subject, by grade, by school, and look for anomalies. You could do this. We have fancy programs to do this, but you could do this with graph paper.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the unusuals.
Or Excel even. Probably,
yeah.
Which is
I hate Excel. I have to use it all the time.
It's the form a lot of these things come with.
Yeah.
You can come in on the
You have
websites,
to work with it, but I often get an Excel spreadsheet, and then what I do is create a graph myself. That's
okay. So you'd start with
create something. Excel, whatever you're comfortable working with, looking for the odd, the unusual, and if you have multiple years, especially down, then up, then down. This is why would that happen? If you can do the more, because this wouldn't be at the start. Cohort analysis, where you follow the kids over time, that's more sophisticated. First of all, let's look at across years things that stand out.
So group 1 year is fourth graders, they're fifth graders the following year. What happened to them?
Or just how did the fourth grade do in 2008, 2009, 2000? Different kids, but it's the same, in many cases, the same teachers.
Right.
What happens? Or then look, if it changed, did the teachers change? Or did the principal change or something else change? And see how many unusual events you get. And if you just get one or two in a big system, I wouldn't work with that. But a lot of I lived for a while in Ohio. There's a number of big cities out there. Or California, Texas, all the cities, many of them are big, not all of them. See where the problem is, and then hone in on that. Why should Dallas and D.C. and Atlanta and Chicago hog all the attention? There's other places that have problems too that probably have interesting stories to be told.
And then just kind of a last piece of this. So one of the things you do see in a lot of these places, as you said, you get a situation where you try to find out what happened, and you get sort of the standard answer, which is, yeah, we just worked hard. We had a new reading program. We came to school on Saturday. I mean, in a lot of cases, a news organization doesn't have the sophistication to be able to do those analyses, but the state does, or the district does. What's your advice to someone who would need to go to the district or go to the state and say, look, I can't do this. Someone there's got to do it. I mean, is there a certain way to approach that?
At the state level, there have been some developments that would probably help. There's a recently released document called Operational Best Practices for State Assessment. It's a collaboration of the chief state school officers and the Association of Test Publishers. Released within the last year, and has a section on security. And it talks about what a state has to do. And states were very intimately involved in developing that. And if somehow the state that you're dealing with is kind of not caught up with that, it's possible to say, gee, it says right here, Ms. or Mr. So-and-so, that you ought to do this. How are you implementing that standard? I think that might be an interesting conversation to have, because there are more requirements now of what's expected of you. Because there's so many. That's part of their problem. They have, they have to be. They must have to produce reports every week or two of something. So, and you're competing to try to get them to invest some of their resources. But if they've been following what you've been doing, in particularly the big USA Today and Times did a big article on it. each one of those spawn dozens and many more. They have to be talking about that at school board meetings and state, legislative committees. So I think you have more, if you're a reporter now, you have more clout than maybe you would have had even 2-3 years ago. So.
But the idea, I guess, is that it shouldn't be a surprise to them that somebody might be interested in this stuff.
Absolutely.
So they shouldn't say, we've never looked at this, it's in a vault somewhere.
Yeah.
It should be, this day and age should be available.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
when they write their, if you take the long-term view, when they write their request for proposal for the next contract for that program, that ought to be in there. That we want more sophisticated analyses.
Gotcha.
And in plain language, what you want are results that you can readily interpret to see if there were problems. Not results that make you speculate.
Right.
Which I'm afraid is where we are now. You get these results and you say, this looks like something could be wrong. But then you have to have a special investigation to see what the problem was. And we don't want that. We want, I don't know, definitive may be too strong, but powerful, compelling evidence that this is worth attention or not.